Hi everyone, welcome back. It's episode 113 of Bucs UK TV. Now the Bucs are playing the San Francisco 49ers. They're 6-3. They destroyed the Jaguars last week, 34-3. Stuart, let's start with you. How good are the 49ers right now?
Worryingly good. I think if we'd have been playing them a couple of weeks ago, it'd be different. But it just seems that those 3 weeks might have been a blip, and they just went straight back into possibly the best team in the NFL at the moment. It's just concerning that their offense is so good and their defense, and they're just on the back of a massive win.
Yeah. Graeme, so let's. I mean, I think the names are on the offensive side of the ball, although they are loaded both sides. I guess, who do we have to worry about, the 49ers, or do we have to worry about everybody?
I think it's one of those games, isn't it? If McCaffrey doesn't play well, you've got Samuel, you've got Purdy's playing so well. He's a kind of unspectacular kind of quarterback, I always think, but he does the little things really, really well. Very, very solid. But again, looking at their split last week was almost split 50-50 in terms of rushes and passing plays. It was 30-28, I think. The difference between their running game and our running game was they went for about 150 or 160 yards, and we went for about 75.
Yeah.
So it just shows what a difference a running game will make for you, and there's so, when McCaffrey went there, I thought, well, he misses a lot of games through injury, or he did when he was at Carolina, but he seems to be pretty solid now. He's playing every week, and
I think McCaffrey probably had Barry Sanders syndrome. I think he was fed up of carrying the team. That was enough to get anyone down. Here, I mean, he's got a stud offensive line in front of him. I think, Trent Williams in particular, I've got a lot of time for at left tackle. But yeah, the push off the line. If you look at it, half the time he's getting the ball, he's not getting contact until he's in positive yardage.
Yeah, I know, but it's difficult. He's 95 yards rushing and 47 receiving. That's just a very average week for him from last weekend. Yeah. So going to be difficult. I think and it'll come back down to what it always comes down to, what we can do up on the defensive line. That's what it's. The whole game's just going to hinge on the defensive line. Can they stop McCaffrey, and can they get to Brock Purdy? That's going to be.
So in the trenches then, David, what do you have to do to stop Christian McCaffrey?
You just have to, really go in hard and stuff out.
I don't think we can shoot him round upon.
Was it, although they had a convincing win, wasn't it, this weekend? His first game without a touchdown in something like 34 games or something ridiculous. So, I mean, he's going to come back with a vengeance this week, which is really worrying. And of course, even if you do stuff it and block him as much as you can, you've still got Kittle to deal with, haven't you? So, yeah, it's a frightening offense, isn't it? I think, just following on from last week's game, I just think we go out all out attack on defense and see what happens. I'm not sure that it's any other way. I think we've proved that if we try and contain and try and cover in the backfield, we'll just get ripped to pieces. So let's just go all out and go for them. I'm not sure.
We need to get the pressure on. So Stuart, then that means that Brock Purdy's going to be looking for Brandon Ayuk. He's going to be looking for Deebo Samuel. And I think the depth isn't looking bad either. I think as you say, McCaffrey in the backfield can also come out and take passes as well. How dangerous do we have to feel about this passing attack?
Very. There's no two ways about it. It's just we need to be on our top game defensively, to stand any chance. And I think offensively as well. With this season, we've had so many 3 and outs, and we're getting the defense back on the pitch too quickly. And if we don't keep them off the pitch, I think that they'll destroy us if the defense is on there too long. It's got to be, give them a bit of time to recover, because it's going to be non-stop. And if they're too long, it will just be over. So I think we.
Yeah, I think it's fair.
One of the really difficult things with the 49ers as well is the different looks you're getting, because you've got two guys, McCaffrey and Samuel, who can rush and receive, and trying to figure out what play's coming up. I mean, I don't know how you manage that. No idea. It's a great card to have.
I think that's part of the allure. Is, as you said earlier, Graham, I think Brock Purdy, he's not the second coming of Joe Montana. But year in, year out, the 49ers have had, don't get me wrong, above average quarterbacks coming through the stable, but they just seem to have a system or a mentality that just gets the very, very best out of their quarterbacks. And I think Brock Purdy, in my mind, is a similar. I think, again, we don't know the plays that are being called and what the reads are, but it looks like he's being given a limited number of choices, but dynamic choices, like you say. So it can, whether it's a run pass option or it's a look for the Debo, and then if not, head down to Christian McCaffrey. But kind of a very straightforward but effective set of choices, which I think makes Brock Purdy not have to be too flappable. I think he's looked quite composed.
Yeah, yes, he has. And in fact, we played him, I think it was his first start when he played, again, one of our other fantastic performances against a debut quarterback, and he ripped us apart that day. And it was dead simple stuff, dead simple. And he's really good. Obviously he's good at it. And it's horses for courses. He fits into that system absolutely perfectly. And they probably have manipulated the system to suit him to an extent, which they can do when they have the versatility in offense and an offensive line that they have. That's such a good side.
And I think it's also the fact that he's got two huge options out there. I mean, these aren't your standard sort of 6 foot guys. I mean, Kittle and McCaffrey between them, they are monsters. They can go and fight for that ball, and they stand above everybody and pick it out. It makes it a much bigger target for him to try and hit.
Yeah. I think Kittle's clearly bitter that Kelsey's getting all of the media coverage, so he's going to be ramped up for it. Let's switch to the other side of the ball. I think looking at the 49ers defense, in my mind, the strength is on the defensive line, I think. And obviously, when we're talking about balance and rushing the ball, Stuart, I mean, that. It's not going to be an easy day for us to rush the ball, I think.
No. I mean, they've just made their defense stronger, haven't they? In the recent, trade deadline with Chase Young. So I just think everyone's going to need to be on their top game, no matter what position. Everyone's got to have that great game. We won't get too many chances.
Do you think we have to run towards Chase Young, thinking that's the point of attack, and we can block him, or should we run away from him into the arms of Nick Bosa? Or
flip a coin.
Okay, heads or tails? Heads you lose, tails we don't win.
We'd like to see a few wrinkles thrown in, though. Let's see something a little bit different. But we're up against the number 3 ranked rush defense, and we are, I think, ranked about 31 and run.
I mean, it comes back to you were saying, Graham, how important it is to have that balance. I guess if we, for example, maybe get a score or two behind, which, let's be honest, probably isn't inconceivable. At what point do you have to think, actually, we just need to chuck it now?
Yeah, no, it's very, very quickly, and that was what happened the last time. We went 2 or 3 touchdowns behind within, I think, just into the second quarter. We were 20 points behind, and we just had to just chucking the ball down the field the rest of the game to try and catch up, which just makes matters worse. So yeah, it's going to be vital. We'll have to stay in the game for as long as we can, and we'll have to try and make the running game work to an extent to give Mayfield an opportunity to try and find 13 and 14 downfield.
Yeah, I think that's true. And David, we didn't so much talk a great deal about Baker last time, but I think for me, obviously the low light, not the highlight, the low light, unsurprisingly, was that interception. And I don't begrudge Baker throwing an interception last week, but what kind of the fact that he lasered on, it was only ever going to that one player, and I'm not sure it was triple or quadruple coverage.
Oh, yeah, to the smallest receiver we had on the
field.
Yeah, so, I mean, sometimes his decision making isn't great, but thankfully they're few and far between. I mean, he's not Jameis Winston, is he? So, he's trying to push it a little bit and, got carried away. He does miss the open receivers from time to time, and I think he's going to be really rushed this weekend. And I look back and I watched the 49ers game today, and Trevor Lawrence, all his positive play was from screen passes. Drop him in, get him close, and then just dip it over the top. And that's where they made all their positive yardage at the weekend. And, this is going to be a good game for Rashid Wright and Co to pick up those short balls. I can see Otten getting a lot of plays. And, let's just not go for the bombs, because you're not going to get time necessarily for play to develop too much down there. And if you just hit for the bomb, we know we'll just be running into a brick wall. So I think it's variation in the plays, mixing it up a bit of misdirection, drop them on and short screen passes for ideally 8 to 10 yards. And that's how we do it. And if we just keep doing that and keep moving the ball down the field again, as Stu was saying, that takes their offense out of the game if we've got the ball. It's as easy as that.
Yeah. So Stuart, do you agree? Because I think Baker had some good long passes in the last few weeks, but also a couple of overthrows as well. So I mean, David is saying play the odds.
Yeah, I think there was a few that were overthrown in the game on Sunday. So I think it's shorter passes and things do seem to suit Baker a little bit better from what I've seen. His accuracy isn't so good, but it's really down the field. So I'm just hoping that he's not injured, because there was a bit of concern about his thumb on Sunday. So let's just hope he's in, not in Trask.
So hopefully.
Okay.
I mean, the overflows I think are coming. I think he's had the most tipped passes. And I think there is a tendency for him when he sort of has passes tipped, particularly early on in the game, that he does try and sort of add a bit more air to it. And that's where the overflows come. And again, that equally comes back to the O-line, not doing their job and not, getting the defence down. And I think that's where he becomes vulnerable.
I think that's a really good point.
The interception, though, correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't that a third down and
15, yeah.
Kind of like a good punt inside the 20.
Yes.
Essentially,
it didn't cost us anything that.
I guess the question is, if there's three defenders on one of our receivers, someone else should be open. I guess is the knock, isn't it?
Yeah, but was he 15 yards downfield? I don't know. But anyway, as I say, no damage done. It was better than a Camarda punt. He would have put it in the end zone. So
he'd have put it out of the stadium. Right. Okay. So it's money where your mouth is time. Score predictions. David, it's a hard job to go first, but someone's got to do it. How is this going to stack up, do you think, at the end when the clock ticks down?
I'm sort of a bit scared to say, to be honest. Let's be charitable and think the defense turns up and does a job, and offense sort of hangs around a bit, and we get away a 21-14 defeat. But I can't see us winning, but if we can keep it competitive and moves ball, I'd be happy. I think this is one that we mark down as probably a loss in the books, and we've got 3 more games straight afterwards. It's better to focus on. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Stuart, do you agree?
I think they're going to score a little bit more. But if I think we need to score early so that it doesn't get away from us. But I think we will lose. I think it'll be about 28-17.
Okay. Graeme?
Well, I've written down here 27-17. So to the Niners. And that, I don't know, anytime I predict us losing, we usually win. So that's what I'm kind of hanging my hat on here.
Oh, I like that. In which case, so I think all balance of probabilities, I do think we're probably not going to walk away with the win here. But I do think there's a chance. And for me, the chance comes in turnovers. So there were a couple of times last week against the Texans where 2 players collided, or we were very unlucky not to come away with an interception. We got 1 interception. I think we could have very easily come away with 3, possibly 4. And I think on the any given Sunday philosophy, if those 3 or 4 interceptions do come off, then I think that's where we've got our best chance of actually doing something. But it all predicates on us being able to score. and I cannot see us having any effectiveness running the ball. So I'm afraid I think Baker's going to have that shoulder strapped up in ice after the game, because I think it's going to be a busy day. I like what you said, David, about different lengths of passes, different options. That's how we're going to get the variety and spread the field out. I think we lose 21-20. I think we'll actually score more, but we'll end up trading field goals for touchdowns. So that's how I see it coming down anyway. That's as much as my heart can rule over my head. In week 10 of or week 11 of the NFL season, which is far too short as it is. So you've heard there how we think it's going to go down. It's a bit depressing, I'm afraid, but if you've got some inspiration and you're willing to put your name in the comments and say you heard it here first, it's a Bucs win and this is the score, then we would be delighted to give you a super YouTube thumbs up on the comments. Other than that, make sure you hit like and subscribe and the bell so that you get notified and you get bragging rights to come and tell us exactly how you were right. David, Stuart, Graham, thank you very much. Thank you guys at home for watching. We will see you next week, and as ever, go Bucs!
Go
Go
Bucs!
Bucs!